Everybody paid attention to the lights. That's great. Okay. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I was going to say good morning, but now it's noon. Well, this is a wonderful crowd. Thank you all for coming out today. My name is Lynn Drinkwater, and I'm the Moore County Senior Enrichment Center's program coordinator. And do a little house cleaning. If anybody doesn't know where the restrooms are, if you go out the doors you came in and make a left, the restrooms are right there. So thank you all for coming, and I want to say a quick thank you to all the sponsors back that provided the fab. Well, this is a great crowd, and I'm glad that you're all here because this is a topic that is on my mind a lot, and I'm very passionate about, because back in the day when I worked for home care, one of the things that I used to see were people in the hospital in the bed, and they couldn't wait to get home because they were being discharged. But then I would look at their loved one, and I would see their eyes like this and the stress on their face, saying, oh my goodness, what am I going to do if I get mom home? How is she going to get dressed? How is she going to get, is this one funky? Oh, thank you. You're so sweet, thank you. I love having friends. So I would see the stress because they would be like, oh my goodness, how is she going to get dinner ready? How is she going to go to the grocery store? All these things. So when I started working here 13 years ago, that was one of my big passions, was to try to get these programs so that people who are still mobile, like all of you, can understand all of the different things that are out there, the different options that you have. You know, we all want to live a fun, wonderful life. We all want to be healthy and happy, and then one day go to sleep and be with the Lord. I mean, we all want to sign up for that one, but we have no idea what life is going to throw at us. So if at least you learn what the options are, even though it might be boring, or you might say, I don't need to know that right now. I would much rather you have a little bit of information so that if a crisis and when a crisis arises, maybe it alleviates a little bit of the stress. And maybe meeting some of the wonderful faces of all of the companies and agencies that provide help for seniors, as you're looking at them, now you might meet them again in a hallway one day, or you might need their services one day, and maybe that might alleviate a little bit of stress because you've seen them here. So I thank you again for coming today. Next Thursday is going to be part 2. And so what I'm going to give it to you is just a little overview of what we do at the Department of Aging. Most of you people come to have fun at the senior center, and they knit and they have card games and they work out and they do all kinds of fun stuff. But a lot of people don't know the services that we provide. And what we do is, through the Older Americans Act back in the 60s, there are grants that agencies like us and every senior center across the United States has. They're services that provide help for people who are 60 years old and live in whatever county that you're in. So one of the services that we offer is called the Family Caregiver Advisor. Alvita Person is in the back of the room. She was helping with sandwiches today and helping you with checking in. And she's beautiful and wonderful. And what she helps with is, if you have a loved one, whether it's someone who is a spouse, a partner, an aunt, a mother, a father, somebody that you know that is living alone or living with you that needs help. They might have a cognitive impairment of some sort, a little brain change going on. She can help with a lot of things. First of all, she leads 2 support groups, family caregiver support groups a month. She can listen to what all your situation is and then go, okay, this is what you need to do for that. Here's the company's name that you're going to do for this. She goes down the whole list of everything that you need. So she serves as information and assistance which is looking up things for you, information and referral, giving you choices, as well as she has information that she can hand you for certain things. Every year she gets a little grant for respite care. We work with 2 licensed and bonded home care agencies in the area, and that would award you a certain amount of hours that you could get of free caregiver service. They ask for it to be in 4-hour increments, and so you have a choice of the 2 agencies. And then when you need to go to a doctor's office, you want to go shopping, you want to be with your friends or whatever, at least you can have somebody come into your home and be with your loved ones so that you don't have fear when you're leaving that person alone. It gives you options, which is wonderful. It's a way to try on the home care agency for when your hours run out. If you need more hours, at least you've already established a relationship. There's a Depend program that she has for people who have incontinence issues. So once you're a family caregiver, part of her program, she could help with that. Right now, the funding is coming to an end after July, the fiscal year begins again, and the funding comes back again. So there's a multitude of things that Alveda can help with. We have medical transportation. Medical transportation is separate from a person who has Medicaid. They have their own transportation through the Carthage Transportation Program. But if you are 60 years old or older and you live in Moore County, you can sign up for medical transportation. And what that is if you need to go to the doctors, say your vision isn't good anymore, say you had to sell your car because the doctor said you shouldn't be driving anymore, or maybe you never learned how to drive and your spouse passed away. There's all kinds of situations. Well, you could call, first of all, you have to sign up for the program, and it takes a little bit of time to sign up. But once you are in, you call us at least 2 days prior to your doctor's appointment. Tell us where you're going. We need the address. We need the phone number of you. We need the time of your appointment. And then the medical transportation is through our Carthage Transportation Program. Those little buses that go around that say MCTS stands for Moore County Transportation Services. So they get faxed all of the people that we've taken appointments for, and then they figure out who needs to go where all across Moore County. And then you have to be ready 2 hours prior to your appointment, because some days there might be a full bus and they need to pick up and drop off a lot of people. Other times they might be, maybe 40 minutes before your appointment. They pick you up, bring you to your doctor's appointment, and then about an hour later they come around, pick you up, and bring you home. Now that is anywhere in Moore County, but they can go to Lee County, all the way up to UNC Chapel Hill, out to Fayetteville, down to Hamlet, wherever you need to go, which is fabulous. The other thing that they do is once you sign up for a medical transportation as a medical transportation person, then there's 2 days a week where you could do general transportation, Tuesdays and Fridays. You want to go to Walmart, you want to go to the bank, you want to go to the grocery store, you want to go to a restaurant and meet your friend there, things like that. You're only allowed 1 transportation appointment a day. And so sometimes, like people who come here to the congregate meal, we have a diners club here. So they choose, okay, I need 1 transportation a day. I'm coming here to do the diners club, or I'm going to my doctor's office. And so they have a choice. So that's transportation. We have 2 nutrition programs. Everyone's heard of Meals on Wheels. Meals on Wheels only covers half of the county. It covers from Pinehurst to Southern Pines South. Whereas we have a program called Home Delivered Meals. That is a program that we cover from Taylortown, Whispering Pines, north. We have 9 separate meal routes in that territory that we have. 2 of them alone are in Robbins, and I think 2 are in Seven Lakes. And so we rely heavily on volunteers who go to the meal site where the food is, and they get their list, they put it in a bag, and they go and deliver the meals. We cater, or we partner with Mid-South Catering. They provide all the food. They provide the food at these the meal sites. Some are in the town hall, some are here downstairs, some are in the fire department. They have these nice boxes to keep them all warm. So that is a fabulous program. And then we have our diners clubs, which is our congregate meal. We have one here at the senior center and one out in Robbins. And basically Monday through Friday, you can come for a nice hot meal. It's the same meal that Mid-South has, that you're being delivered for home delivered meal people. And they also get a program. So Monday, you just don't come and have lunch and then leave. You have to be committed to the program. The program is supposed to be for socialization, for people who don't get out much. They can come here. They have fellowship with people. Monday is Bible study. Tuesday is either exercise, like chair volleyball, brain exercise. Wednesday and Thursday, I believe they still have both days bingo. As long as the person brings $1.25, they can win a prize. $1.25, since the Dollar Tree went up to $1.25, that's the goal there. So everybody keeps playing bingo until everybody wins a prize, which is a lot of fun. So we also have a program that we have here called SHIP. It's SHIIP, stands for Seniors Health Insurance Information Program. Basically, all of your questions answered regarding Medicare. So every month from January through October, we have a Medicare 101 class led by Katie Hall. And she will teach and go over the overview of Medicare. Everybody waits until they're 64 and 10 months before they go, oh, I guess I got to go try to figure out about this Medicare. But it is not as scary as you think it is. We try to make it very easy. So we go through the basics of Medicare so that you know, and then when you're actually turning 65 and you need help, she can schedule a one-on-one with you. That's when we can go into details. Because if you're a veteran, if you work for the railroad, if you work for the state, if you're lower income, if you're higher income, there's all these ifs and ends. So in that Medicare 101, we cover a little bit of the basics, but it's when it's one-on-one that we can go into the nitty-gritty and help you out. Every year through October 15th through December 7th, we have open enrollment. That's when you see Medicare Everything in our lobby. That's when I take my program hat off and I jump into my Medicare role, and we try to do all hands on deck, try to get as many people helped as possible. That's where we can help you figure out how to save some money by switching to a different drug plan or reviewing what your insurance is, asking questions, things that you might get in the mail that you're confused about, things like that. Now, 2 years ago, we didn't get our numbers from last year, but 2 years ago, we were able to save Moore County residents over $862,000 by just coming to us and us helping switch a person from one plan to another. And last but not least, our most important one is always a wait list, is in-home aid. We have a registered nurse on staff, and we have a supervisor of in-home aid. We have, I think, 8 CNAs, certified nursing assistants, that can go to your home, and they can help you 2 to 2.5 hours a week with doing light housekeeping. They can run errands for you. They can't take you anywhere, but they can run errands for you. One of my favorite things that they can do is do your laundry and change your sheets, because as you get older, it's a lot harder to get that last fitted sheet on the mattress. And I know my mom said she sprung across her bedroom one day trying to do that. So, but it's a wonderful program, but they always have a wait list because there is always a need. And now the one myth I'm going to tell you about before I'm going to hand it over to Chris Peavy, our fitness coordinator. I just want to tell you that everyone thinks you can't have these services because it's only for low income. That's not the case. It is for anybody who is 60 years or older who lives in Moore County. If you live in another county, you really shouldn't be here today. But if you live in another county, you should go ask, or if you know somebody who lives in another county and you think these services are fabulous, call them up and tell them to go find their local senior center, because they probably have the same services as we do here. If you know somebody and you have a question about that, the services or who to contact, Alvita Person is another one that can help you with that phone number. And other than that, I think I've done everything except tell you our business hours. So we are open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7 in the morning until 5 o'clock at night, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 to 7, and Saturdays 8 to 1. And the senior center I like to refer to as the Boys and Girls Club for people over 50, because you can come for free and have a lot of fun. The average age is 72 and is physically fit, because they come to Chris's classes. And one more thing I want to tell you. One of my favorite things that Medicare has as well is for lower income people, they have 2 Medicare savings programs. So the one Medicare savings program is if you make a certain amount of income, but you don't qualify for Medicaid, but you still have lower income, you might be able to have a free drug plan. What that means is you don't have to pay anything for the insurance company for that particular drug plan that we can find for you. But then your drug prices are automatically reduced to less than, I think it's $6 for a generic and less than $12 or $11 for a brand name drug. And that is a help to people who are lower income. The second one is if you fit into this lower income, is you might have your Medicare Part B premium paid for. That is a huge savings. And what we tell people is to find out if you qualify for the drug one, you can come and ask Katie. But if you want to find out if you qualify for the Medicare Part B savings, get 3 months, the last 3 months of your bank statements together, and then call the Department of Social Services and say you want to find out if you qualify for the Medicare Savings Program for Part B. They'll set you up an appointment. You bring the last 3 months of your bank statements. If you qualify, they're able to get you a check for the last 3 months that you paid your Part B, and then going forward, you don't have to pay it. So you get that extra Part B premium in your Social Security benefit deposited in your account. So those are 2 wonderful Medicare savings programs. So anyway, I'm going to leave now. And this is Chris Peavy, our fitness coordinator, and he agreed to come here. Your agenda says Mike Iannicelli, but I decided to switch and call an audible, keep you on your toes. So here's Chris. Thank you.
Hey guys, how are you? Good? Lunch was good? Yes. Just by show of hands real quick, how many of you already participate in some type of programming here at the Senior Center? How many of you, this is your first time here today? Anybody? Good. Hey, welcome to the show, guys. Hey, this is the greatest show in Moore County. I tell my fitness classes and the folks that I'm in contact with every day that my wife teaches elementary school. And of course, I work here at the Senior Center. So you can only imagine the type of conversations we have at our dinner table at night. Most times we don't finish our food because we have so much to talk about between what I experience and what she experiences, and the common ground, the similarities, but also the differences. But I welcome everybody to the Senior Center. It's a great place to be, a great place to maximize the resources that you have in front of you. And I hope that after today's meeting and also next Thursday that you'll come back to see us and hopefully take part in some of the exercise stuff that I'm going to talk to you about. The biggest thing about our exercise programming here is there is a process, right? You just can't walk in here and start exercising on day one. There is a doctor's note that you have to get filled out. And this form is at the front desk, but I also think there's some forms on the table in the back there that you can pick up, take to your doctor, have them sign it. And then, once you have it signed, you're going to give me a call for an orientation. During the orientation process, I'm going to ask you some questions about your medical history. And then we'll talk about what opportunities are available or what classes are available and what exercise equipment is available to you to use here at the Senior Center. Okay. Now there's a test. When you come for the orientation, I'm going to ask you to either do a cartwheel or a backflip, right? And that's going to give me a good idea of what classes we should probably talk about. Okay. That is not true. All right. We're going to sort of try to devise a plan that works around, the things that we talk about as far as your medical history, around those things to try to find a place for you to exercise safely, but also something that you can enjoy. Okay. Again, whether that be exercise classes or whether that be the exercise equipment, there is something for everybody that is 50 and older and a Moore County resident to do here in terms of exercising. Okay. The classes that we talk about in our orientation process are listed on the calendar that says fitness. Now, at the front desk, there's two of these calendars. One says activities and one says fitness. The one that I'm talking about, of course, is fitness. And these calendars are also, I think, on the table in the back. And they highlight the different classes that we have here Monday through Friday, what day, what time, what class. And then on the back side, there's a description of each of the classes, right? Again, as we go through your medical history and we talk about, things that you want to work on, we'll talk about the classes in detail so you know exactly more of what they consist of, so you kind of know what you're getting yourself into. Regardless, right, in every class that we have, there's opportunities for you to make it what you want, as long as making it what you want is safe, okay? But again, as an instructor and as the yoga instructor and our Tai Chi instructors, we're in a position to try to give you an ideal of what you should be doing, but also what you shouldn't be doing when in these classes. Okay. But there's several different classes for you to sort of take part in. I want to go into more detail about some of those in just a second. Outside of, again, classes is our fitness room, and that's where our exercise equipment is, right? Treadmills, bicycles, new steps, ellipticals, strength machines. You have those to use pretty much anytime you want, or anytime that we're open, I guess I should say. You can use those at your own expense, right? And if it means me and you getting together one-on-one to kind of go through those pieces that are most suitable for you so that you understand what to do, how to do, and how to do it safely, then that's what we're going to do, okay? Meeting with me or asking me questions doesn't cost you anything, right? The only thing that you pay for here as far as the fitness programming is $2, and that's $2 per day. There's not a monthly membership. There's not a sign-up fee. There's only $2 that you pay whenever you come in to take a class or use the equipment. Now, we do have some exercise classes that are free, okay? But again, we are trying to put out there opportunities for you to come in and maximize those opportunities based on what you want to do that's going to allow you to continue to age successfully, okay? And that's extremely, extremely important, regardless of where you're aging and what place you're aging in. What resources are available to you to use so that you can do it successfully is super, super important, okay? And whether you're coming to Lynn's programming, if you're coming to me or any of the other vendors in here, make sure you know what's available to you so that you can maximize those resources and give yourself the best chance to maintain your independence and the things that you enjoy doing, okay? Everybody shake their head up and down that they understand, please. Yes, thank you. All right. A big part of exercising, right, we talk about how important it is for you to do some type of weight-bearing movements, right, to increase strength, but also to increase bone density. So getting stronger is important, right? Flexibility, stretching, and moving also important. Maintaining your mobility by doing some type of endurance or stamina training, that's also important. And a lot of those things we tackle in a lot of the classes that we have on our calendar. I'm going to mention two of them to you because they're the most well attended. Sit and stretch is every Monday and Wednesday, okay, and that focuses totally on flexibility. We stretch for 45 minutes. It's a free class. It's all seated, okay. So in your chair, we'll do some stretches for your legs, your arms, your shoulders, your chest, your back. That will help with your everyday mobility and those activities that you like to engage in, okay? Simple things like tying your shoes or putting your shoes on, okay? Doing your hair. How high can you lift your hands up above your head? Those are things that we try to work on so that you have the best chances at continuing to doing those things even as you continue to get older, right? On Tuesdays and Fridays, we have a class at 11 o'clock that's called Silver and Fit. I know what you're thinking. It's called silver because everybody's hair is gray. No, right? It's meant to provide an opportunity for everybody to come in and do some exercising that centers around strength, that centers around balance, that centers around flexibility, but also some low impact endurance. We have a wide range of individuals that come to that class to participate. Some that have maybe just got out of physical therapy or pulmonary or cardiac rehab. Some that have been exercising their entire life. Some that this may be their first day in class. But there's a place for everybody to come in and participate in the class and be extremely successful. Now, with that class, are you going to come in and exercise for 45 minutes, and after 45 minutes, are you going to feel like going home to lay down? No. Okay. It's going to provide you the opportunity to come in, get some movement, get some exercise, but still feel like when you leave, you can go run errands and do what it is that you need to do. Okay. We are trying to help you, not kill you. Okay. All right. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? All right. We are actually the good guys. We want to provide, again, spaces in which there's lots of positivity, there's lots of laughter, there's lots of social, there's lots of exercise. All right. But we want you to come back and see us. Okay. So those are two great classes, Silver and Fit on Tuesdays and Fridays at 11, and also Sit and Stretch on Mondays and Wednesdays at 11. The folks that you see on Mondays and Wednesdays are pretty much the same folks that you see on Tuesdays and Fridays. But those are great classes to start with, especially if exercising is new to you. Okay. And again, all the other classes, the Tai Chi classes, the yoga classes, all those classes are great. And of course, you have the opportunity to be able to come in and take part in those anytime you want. But again, we can, once we do sort of that initial assessment during the orientation, we can kind of find a spot for you. That way you don't feel like you have to figure it out yourself. Okay. A big part of aging in place and doing it successfully is how assertive can you be in your approach to empowering yourself and maximizing the opportunities and the resources that are in front of you. And a big thing to understand is your conversations with your primary care physicians are super, super important, right? And that is your time, all right, to ask questions, all right, to seek out resources and to find ways to manage some of the things or problems or problem areas that you may be dealing with in those moments. Okay. For a lot of older adults, falls is a big issue, right? I know, of course, when you go to your doctor's appointments, one of the first questions they want to ask is, have you fallen recently? Okay. Or when is the last time that you fell? Well, if we think about that, right? I mean, I have a 12-year-old son, and as far as I can remember, he's been falling ever since he sort of got here. You know what I mean? So falling isn't just one of those things that happens to older adults. It happens to everybody. But it just so happens that as we get older, right, and we're trying to age in place and we're trying to do that successfully and we're trying to prevent falls, that way we can prevent broken bones or fractures, those things just become more important. Finding the resources that you need, all right, to eliminate the risk associated with falling is extremely important. And that requires you to be assertive in your approach to getting the help that you need, whether that be here or the different vendors around the room, your doctors. There's opportunities for you to find what you need so that you can be as successful as you want. All right. Most people don't know that if you go to your doctor's appointment, right, and you've had a fall recently, there's opportunities for you to go to PT and get some training and some exercise to help prevent those falls based on whatever limitations you might have. That's something that's available to you. It's just a conversation that you have to have so that they can point you in the right direction or give you a referral to take advantage of those resources. Okay. Coming here is an awesome opportunity for you to have fun, socialize, exercise, and and do some of the same things in terms of that being assertive approach. Okay. I know that's a lot of information. Any questions? Lynn, am I supposed to ask for that? Am I supposed to ask if they have any questions? Okay, sorry. Hey, if you don't remember my name, this is the easiest thing to do. Right? If you don't remember my name, you come to the senior center and you know that there was a gentleman that talked about exercise here. It's even easier if you say at the front desk or to somebody on the staff to say, who's the guy that works here? Because I am the only guy that works here. All right. That's the third best part of my conversation at the dinner table with my wife is that, I spend all day with 12, 13, 21, 42 other ladies sometimes. But it is a joy. Right? It is my passion. And there's no better place. There's no better job I've ever had than working at the senior center. So I appreciate you guys being here today. Appreciate you taking your time out to support Lynn and her programming. Lynn says she sometimes she takes off her caps. That is a lie. Lynn wears every cap she has successfully every single day. Okay, all at the same time. So if there's no questions, is there any questions? Yes. That is first. So, yep, the doctor's note is something that you want to do first, regardless of whether it's a class or whether it's the exercise equipment. Yeah, you want to get that note from your doctor first, and then that's when you'll call me once you have it signed. Make sure they don't fax it or mail it because it can kind of get lost in the shuffle. But once you have your doctor's note in hand, call me, and I'll have you bring it in to me so that you can hand deliver it to me. Well, it's a form that we have for you. Yep. So once you drop that, and a lot of the doctors in the area have it in their offices, so they know about it. But there's been times also that I've just accepted some kind of letter, note signed by their doctor saying they can exercise. That's fine too. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. That is not. So for the activity schedule, there's two calendars. There's a fitness and then there's an activity. The fitness calendar is what you need the doctor's note for. The activity calendar, you just need to be registered in our system. And there's a registration form that takes 5 minutes. You fill that out, you hand it in, they'll put it in the system. They'll give you a card to scan in with, and you can come and participate in any of the activity programs. Any other questions? Awesome, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much. Okay, so while I am setting up for our next presentation, which is from Mike Inaselli, remember I called the audibles, we're switching gears. So I'm going to try to get this presentation up and running. Mike's going to come on up here. I'm going to give him the mic. And then as I get everything, looks like it's starting, I'm going to draw the blinds. We'll get the lights in the back if you don't mind, somebody.
Oh, thank you.
Just do a proper introduction. I feel so bad. This is Mike Inaselli. He part owner of Home Choice Network. Veronica Sanchez is the other owner. And so he's wonderful to come here because I love how he does a presentation talking about home care. But one of my things that I love with all the sponsors that come here on a regular basis, they're not going to get up to the front of the room and say, this is why you should choose me. Don't choose that person that I'm next door to at my table up here. No, everybody works along with everybody because there's a right fit for everyone. So I just want to say thank you very much for doing this today. And here is Mike.
Thank you, the mic for the mic, I guess. So I'm Mike Inaselli, Home Choice Network. What I want to talk today, and I really want to thank Chris because he made a good segue for me, and that is how to make your home more livable. We talk about all the things we can do, but one of the biggest components of being safe or being independent is where you reside. And I need...
The clicker was here. Okay.
All right. Which one do I push?
You just push either forward, backwards,
Okay.
and then there's also a little line down there for the laser.
All right. Go back one. All right, this is typical home for the area. But you notice this picture has bars in front of it. And the reason for that is that you don't want your home to become your prison. You don't want to say, this is a place I have to be, or I can't leave, or I don't know what to do, but what do I do when I'm here? So I'm going to try to enhance safety and independence at home. Understand that the things I'm going to talk about are very easy to accomplish. They're very easy to recognize. But it's like everything else. If it's there every day, you don't see it. It happens to all of us. The best example I can give you when I use is, I bet you if I go to any one of the homes you have out here, I remove a wall plate from the wall. I bet you the paint behind that wall is a different color than the wall. You were there every day. Did you see it change? No. And it's the same thing with what happens in our homes. We just live with things without recognizing what they are or what we can do to make it better. So what I want to talk about is to make your home safer, make your home more functional, and this one is important. Anticipate your needs in advance. None of us are going to be the same today as we are 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now. Now is the time to start thinking about what to do, what to put in place to make that home livable so I don't have to leave it. And the last one is, don't think about it. How about your guests, people that visit? Maybe they're not visiting because they can't visit your home. I have had, I'm sorry she passed away, but I had a neighbor whose mom was 92 years old. For the last 5 years of her life, she could not visit her daughter because her daughter couldn't get her up the stairs from the driveway into the house. And she lived by herself and she didn't have anybody that could help her, so mom didn't visit. She didn't get to enjoy having her mom in her house. So something else you got to think about. Chris talked about falling. They wanted to ask you about it. Understand, falling is not going kerplop. That's not a fall in a medical definition. In a medical definition, a fall is any time you're on the ground or the floor and you didn't plan on getting there. That's a fall in a medical definition. For instance, we have home care. I don't know how many times, have you fallen out of bed? No, but the other day I was sitting on the edge of the bed and I just slipped out. The mattress just kind of collapsed a little bit and I slid out. Or I was going to get out of the chair and, I just felt a little lightheaded, so I kind of sat down on the floor. That's a fall. It happens. It's all of us. Whoop, I went back too far. Okay. I'm ahead of where I need to be. Let's go back. Back. One more. Okay. Clutter. My wife just got back from helping her sister in Rochester, New York, who's moving into independent living. She sent pictures back. She had widowed, lived by herself for about 5 years. You couldn't find clear pathways through the house. There were papers piled, magazines piled. Her late husband was an artist. There were his artwork supplies, his paintings. You name it, it was around. And she said you had to navigate to walk around. Well, the reason she went up there, she had a fall and had a closed head injury. So I'm not here to do that, but just think about clutter. It's just things you set down. Well, I walk inside the house and I put it down, walk by it. It's there tomorrow. It's there the next day. So I got another package. I put it next to it. It's there again. It just accumulates. So just remember that. Wires and cords. We all have extension cords. Everything is connected to electricity now. So everything has a cord. Just where do you put it? Where does it go? What do you do with it? It's there, so we step over it until we don't. And just clear the pathways where you work or walk. I'm going to have to, I saw this ad about it. It says, you want to hire the right person, you go to Indeed so they can learn technology. Well, here I am. I'm the poster boy for that ad. Okay, here we go. The top picture is my son's room before I moved. No, that's a joke. That was my sense before I moved out. But that's what it looks like in some rooms. It's an exaggeration. But all of those things, tripping hazard. The other one is, see that rug? You didn't trip because it slipped. That person is tripping because there's a change in elevation. And when you become less visually acute, what do? Especially think, get out of bed at night. You don't say, hey, I'm going to the bathroom. I'm going to the bathroom. What do? You don't see real well, so you kind of slide your feet. Well, if there's a rug there and you don't know it's there, you're going to catch it. It's not to not have throw rugs. Sometimes they're appropriate, but understand, minimum, make it minimum. You notice that edge would have been taped down, probably wouldn't be a hazard as much as it is. And then, again, we see cords. That's my nemesis, things by the desk. And Veronica can tell you, yes, sir, they seek me out. Okay, hazards can be anywhere. So we can look at this, and I think it's really a good cartoon, because if you look in the top left, you have a person standing on a desk chair to get something off of a shelf. All of us do that. You don't get a 2-stool step ladder. You don't get an OSHA-approved stool. You step up on the chair. You put your foot inside the cabinet, and you reach up. Not a good idea. And you can look at, in the bathroom. How many of you check the water before you even step in the shower with your hand, the back of your hand? A lot of people don't. It's always okay. No, it's not always okay. And the other one is you've got, this maybe not appropriate if you have grandchildren visit or great-grandchildren. You've got, an infant that can get near the water. It's not attended. We go down below, the kitchen. I like the one where the guy's reaching for the shelf from the chair. We've all done that. It's too much trouble to get up, so I'll just reach for it. And, the living room, you've got a cord going across. You've got somebody playing with an open fire. You have, people don't usually pick up on it, but you've got the child on the couch next to a cactus. It's small things, but they're all hazards. Downstairs in the laundry room, you've got the cord next to the water. You have a rake with the tines up, not down. This is a catalog of what can happen, but it's things that are around the house we don't even recognize. We just live it until we don't. It impacts us. So they can be anywhere. So let's start with your furniture. Step one is furniture should be substantial. And what I mean by that, it shouldn't be something that bows, flexes, moves. It should be something, if you sit in it, you lie in it, it's going to be there. It's not going to move. It's not going to deform. It's substantial. Biggest thing you can do that help you in and out and keep you mobile, believe it or not. If you have trouble getting in and out of a chair, make sure it has arms. It lifts you up. You can use your upper body strength to help you get out. The other thing is just if you go to buy new furniture, make sure that the armrest extends over the front leg or is connected to it. Because when you push down, what it will do is, because of the center of gravity, will keep the chair stable. It won't move, it won't tip, and it helps you get in and out. And no wheel casters. They're fine. You think you're getting out of the table, but you go to get up, and that chair moves. That's not funny. It can fly out from underneath you. And also, how about a size that fits your body type? I am not a large person. You go looking for furniture, especially a sofa or something, I feel like I'm 10 years old in my parents' furniture because my feet, it goes beyond my knees if I go all the way back to the backrest. I can't put my feet down. I feel like a little kid. It's not a bad feeling, but I feel like a little kid again. The other one is that if you are substantial, buy a chair that is wide enough that fits you, that you don't have to squeeze in and out of. It's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure it fits you. Things in your house should work for you, should not work for them. Just keep that in mind. Just remember one thing out of this, that's it. And two things with your furniture. One is, if possible, the chair you sit in the most, make sure it faces the way you're going to get up more frequently than not, the way you're going to get up. So if you sit in a chair and you're in there most of the time, we'll just say you're in there for an hour watching a TV show, hour and a half. You got to go to the bathroom. So you get up, and the first thing that happens, it's happened to all of us. You get up and suddenly, woo, you're a little lightheaded. Hey, think what would happen now if you have to get up and then you're lightheaded and you have to turn. Your orientation's off. You're off. It really can add substantially to your risk of falling. It may not be how you always organize the furniture, but that's not important. It shouldn't make you work for it. You should have the furniture work for you. If you stand up out of that easy chair, that recliner, and 9 times out of 10 you're going to go to the bathroom, if you can, have it face the way you're going to go so you don't have to turn when you stand up. Small things pays big dividends. And furniture walk. Does anybody in here show hands on what furniture walking is? Oh, I've got people that work in home care now back there with some hands. Here's furniture walking. Oh, I'm going to go to the bedroom. Yeah. Oh, this is just the kitchen table. You don't mind if I go around and see what you're having. That's furniture walking. You know, you shouldn't be furniture walking. If you have to furniture walk, when you see your doctor for your annual Medicare physical, ask them and say, you know, I'm doing this. Is there any way I can get some PT, some physical therapy to help me with this? Because that's not a good thing. And lighting. Lighting is extremely important because, one, you should have even lighting. Spotlights like you have going right here now in your home would be a good idea, and we don't have them. We have the can lights in the ceiling, we turn them on, and it's just a little thing. We've got the lamp with the shade by the end of the sofa, and that's the only light in the room at night. And that's not a good thing. And it should match the activity. In the next slide, I'll show you what we can do. It should match the activity. We do different things, and we need different lighting. If I'm doing, she was talking about quilting. If you do quilting, you need a different kind of light than if you do if you're in your bedroom. You need a different kind of light than if you're in the kitchen or if you're in the bathroom. And you control that by the type of bulb you buy. And motion activate, avoid glare. That's without saying. You have a hardwood floor and it's shiny and the sunshine comes in through the window and you walk in the room and it's like, whoa, at first. That's glare. One of the easiest ways to eliminate that or minimize it is just put sheer curtains in front of the windows. It reduces that substantially. Or motion activated lights. Very inexpensive now. They're controlled by switches that are in the light bulb fixture themselves, wall switch, but most of the falls, they say people are, in the bath. They're not really. They're going to or from the bathroom. And what happens is that you get up, and I don't know why they design houses like this. Why don't they put light switches next to where you're going to put the bed? In a bedroom. That makes sense. They know where you're going to position the bed because of the window placement, etc. If you put a light switch on either side of where the bed is, you could control the light without doing it. But just a thought, if you move into a new house or have one built, ask if they could do that. The other one is these activated switches. You stand up, the light goes on, you go to the bathroom, it stays on as long as there's movement in the bathroom or as long as you want to set it. They go as fine as 5 minutes, as much as 30 minutes. It stays active for that length of time till you get back and get back to the bed. Or you can put it in the bedroom. You can put it in the hallway. But please consider those. You do it yourself. If you don't want to do that, an electrician can put everything in for under $100. It's a lot cheaper than a fall. And stairways, make sure they're illuminated well. because you have to see that differential between the tread and the riser when you're going down. Have you ever started down a stairway and suddenly realize, I can't see the next step really clearly, or I don't know how far down it is? Lighting helps with that. And make use of natural light. Not only is it nice and helps, but guess what? A thing called circadian rhythm. What it does is that I can't sleep at night. If you have natural light in the daytime, chances are you're going to sleep better than if you don't have it. It's way we're geared. And what they call cooler lighting is better suited for seniors. So here we go. Whoop, no, we didn't. Back. There we go. Okay. I talked about before, different activities. These are called foot candles. It's not important to know what it is. What a foot candle is how much illumination hits a square foot of area, surface area. So bedrooms obviously don't need as much as the kitchen. The garage is a big variation. Laundry rooms need quite a bit because you have to see things. And then you have bathrooms, living room, dining room. It gives you an idea. But they're talking about cooler lights. When you look at a light bulb package now, you're going to see this gradient. It always on the, all of the LEDs have that on the side of the box. This is what you should be looking for. Because if you haven't had cataract surgery, the world looks yellow. You get those other two softer ones, everything is going to be degraded because it's yellow light. How am I doing on time, man? Okay, all right. Well, let me go through very quickly. Okay, bedrooms. I can't say enough for grab bars. They don't have to look institutional anymore. You see the ones on the top, those are all grab bars. Decorative. The bottom one is my favorite one because you can put it anywhere, and when you don't need it, you can get rid of it. It adjusts up and down, swivels. You can use it to get it out of bathtubs, out of beds, out of chairs. Stairways, make sure you have rails on both sides. And what did we miss? Thank you, Chris, because Chris is what we missed. Who, me? And there you go, activities. Because your responsibility is to you, is keeping you healthy so you can enjoy your home. And the last one is, no questions time for that, but
That's all, folks.
Thank you, Mike. I'm so sorry we had to rush that along. It's always so hard because people start talking about passions and then the time goes by very quickly. So next up we have Maggie Bonecutter, and she is with First Health Hospice and Palliative Care. And usually when people hear about hospice and palliative care, they picture the Grim Reaper, and hospice is so depressing and horrible, and it is not. There's a lot of benefits, wonderful benefits to hospice. Palliative care is different, and she'll go into both of those. We are going to have a presentation for her, so I'm going to start that, but I'm going to let you start talking before I get your presentation up and running, okay?
That's fine. Thank you. Thank you so much, Lynn. I'm so glad that we are talking about aging in place and different types of topics to help us be in control of our lives. My dad was a West Virginia coal miner. He died at age 68 from something called black lung disease. Is anybody familiar with that? Yeah, it's a horrible, wretched, awful disease that I would not wish on anyone. And when he got down to 125 pounds on a 6', 2" frame, I should have known he wasn't getting better, but I didn't. Because no one sat me down, no one sat my mother down and explained his disease process to us. No one talked about making him more comfortable in his final days. And so that's why I do this work in hospice and palliative care, because I don't want anyone to suffer like he did. I don't want anyone to be uninformed like my mom and I were. So I'm going to talk about two types of care at the end of life. One is hospice, which who's familiar with hospice? I see every hand going up. Yeah. Another type of care is palliative care, which is a little different. And again, as Lynn spoke about with Mike's presentation, there are many different hospice agencies that you can choose from. I represent one. So I'm going to tell you help you understand what these two represent, and so you can make an informed choice. So hospice, okay, that's okay. Hospice is, so I'll tell you a story that helps kind of explain. You may have some ideas of what hospice is, but I'm going to tell you it's a story that explains what it really is. So once upon a time, there was a man and a girl and a boy, and they fell in love, and they got married, and they had a huge family. But then something happened. Thank you. But then something happened, and they fell out of love, and they got divorced. And then later, years later, they came across each other at a child's wedding, or I don't know what it was, but they came across each other, and they realized they'd made a horrible mistake, and they wanted to get remarried. So the boy, now the man, but he got sick, and he ended up at Moore Regional. And then he ended up in an inpatient hospice facility, which here in Moore County is the First Help Hospice House across the street. But they didn't care. They were still going to get married. So the sons got dad ready, the daughter got mom ready, and somehow the nurses wheeled him down from the hospice house to the chapel, which is on the campus of the First Help Hospice site. And they got married. And in that moment, no one was sick. There were no caregivers. It was just a family that was made whole. So that's what hospice is. It's providing dignity at the end of life. It's providing information and helping people live their days in the way that works for them toward the end of life. So here we're going to talk about differences. So end-of-life care, both hospice and palliative care, the goal is to improve the quality of life, not only for the patient, but for the patient's family too, because caregiver burnout is a very real thing. It relieves physical and emotional suffering and supports the family. So now we're going to talk about hospice. Another term for hospice is comfort care, because that's the ultimate goal, is comfort, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So there's a couple myths that I want to clear up. Hospice does not speed up death. Hospice is not withdrawing of food and treatments. You do not need to be in the final stages of dying, or just for the elderly. All of those are myths. One thing that's the big myth that I see the most is that you must be in the last weeks or days of life in order to qualify for hospice, and that's not true. So let me go back to this. So hospice is for people who have a life expectancy of 6 months or less, as deemed by a doctor. You know, there are variations for everything, but if a condition or disease takes its normal course, then somebody would have 6 months. That's what, and it's a Medicare benefit, and that's what Medicare states is 6 months left. There's also a misconception that hospice is a place you go. Oh, they called in hospice. We hear, oh, they went to hospice. No, the majority of people receive hospice care in their homes. So, well, I'll explain it, but most people get hospice care in their homes from a nurse aide, a social worker, a chaplain, a hospice volunteer comes into the home to care for the person. Now, when symptoms get to be too much to be managed at home, then people go, then people can go to an inpatient hospice facility. In Moore County, it's called the Hospice House, as I mentioned. It's across the way. They're not in every county, but there's a central hospice house for most areas. There's also a misconception that hospice care is expensive. No, it's not. Hospice is paid for by Medicare. So I'll give you a quick history. Hospice was developed as a type of care in England in the late 60s. And then it moved over the pond to the United States in the early 70s. And then in the early 80s, Medicare said, hey, it might be a better idea to take care of people in their homes instead of having to make them go to a hospital where there's lots of whistles and bells and loud noises and bright lights. And so then Medicare decided to create a hospice benefit. And so that's who pays for it. And that's for people 65 and older. If you're younger than 65, their insurance can pay for it. Medicaid, there's different sources of funding for that. Now, people who are eligible for hospice, a diagnosed terminal illness, and the person elects to forego any more aggressive treatment. No more chemo, no more radiation. People say, I'm done. I want to go home and I want to be with my family. And so those are the criteria for hospice. And as I mentioned, hospice services are a lot broader than what one may think. Pain and symptom management, nurse care 24/7, related medical equipment like a hospital bed, oxygen, things like that, related medications, and urgent inpatient care, which is in this community across the street. And then bathing, continuous home care, respite care. Oh, this is a big one. So people who are in hospice care, Medicare will pay for that patient to go to a facility for up to 5 nights. For example, the hospice house across the street, for up to 5 nights for caregiver respite. Who's ever been a caregiver? Burnout's real, isn't it? And so Medicare will pay for your loved one to go for up to 5 nights per certification period, which is every 2 to 3 months or so. And the 5 nights don't have to happen at the same time. It can be 2 here, 3 there. We have volunteer services. We offer, if anyone is interested in being a hospice volunteer, there's information at my table. It's a very rewarding role. And bereavement services. So hospice care does not end when the loved one passes away. Medicare covers bereavement counseling, and for up to 13 months after the loved one has passed. But 13 months, that sounds like a weird time. What that does is cover all the first anniversaries, all the first holidays, all the first birthdays, the first anniversary of the loved one's passing. And some agencies may offer support groups or others. For example, First Health offers bereavement counseling for anyone, regardless if their loved one passed in a hospice situation. You're entitled to bereavement care. It's all free. Hospice can happen in a home, assisted living, skilled nursing, inpatient, across the street. And who pays? Medicare and private insurers. Now, let's talk about a different type of care, which you may not be familiar with, which is palliative care. What a weird word. Another term for that is supportive care, and I'll tell you how. This is my mother. She turns 84 on Saturday, and she lives in an assisted living facility in Pinehurst. And she knows every person in that facility. She knows the entire staff. She knows their comings and goings. She knows every resident. She knows every clean and dirty joke in the book and will be happy to share them with you at any time. She also tells people she's a retired exotic pole dancer. She's not. She's a retired teacher, but it gets a laugh, and she's all about the laughs. Cognitively, she's 100%, but she's being treated for multiple myeloma. She has congestive heart failure. She's had breast cancer twice. She's had ulcerative colitis. You name it, she's had it. So cognitively, 100%. Medically, she's very fragile. So she's enrolled in something called palliative care. And how that works is a provider comes to her assisted living facility once a month, and they talk about they talk about her illnesses. Now, let me share this. So there's a myth that replaces my regular doctors. No. People in palliative care still have all their regular doctors. My mother is still being treated for multiple myeloma. She's still being treated for congestive heart failure. She likes to go to her doctors because, believe it or not, they're a great source of jokes. So she really needs to keep that pipeline going. So she is still seeking aggressive treatment. She knows one of these conditions will get her eventually, but the treatment helps keep it at bay. So she is enrolled in palliative care. Now, it is not for people at the very end of life because she's not going anywhere anytime soon. There's no 6-month barrier, 6-month time limit for that. Well, at hospice, it's not a time limit, but you know what I mean. And so she's enrolled in palliative care. Once a month, her provider comes to visit, and they talk about her symptoms with her multiple myeloma treatment, with the multiple myeloma itself, with the congestive heart failure. They talk about her medications. They talk about how she feels. They talk about things like advanced directives, and I'll talk about that in a second. They talk about things like goals of care. What does a good day look like for you, and how can we help you achieve that? When the time comes for hospice, I won't have to have that conversation because my mother's palliative care provider has already had that conversation with her, and I'm very grateful for that. Many days, my mother loves her palliative care provider more than she loves me, and that's okay because her palliative care provider empowers her with information. She empowers her with what she can do, if that makes sense. So it's anyone with a serious illness, regardless of life expectancy or prognosis, and it works with, not replaces, treatment plans. My mom's palliative care provider is in constant contact with her oncologist, with her cardiologist, with her dermatologist, with her GI, all the things. The one function of palliative care is to stay out of the hospital. And so it's an extra set of eyes and ears on someone in between regular doctor visits. And these are the goals. Navigating treatment options, that's a big one. Palliative care is a lot of talking, a lot of understanding. You can get it many, many places, in a home, wherever you call home, an outpatient clinic, or a hospital. Medicare Part B pays, as does most other insurance carriers. And that's it. Now, there's one thing I do want to mention. For people, if you do not have a healthcare power of attorney or a living will, I highly, highly recommend you get one. So many times we see people at the end of life and they are not able to speak for themselves and they haven't made their wishes known. And so we had one not long ago. They did not know if their mother wanted to be cremated or buried. They didn't know where. They didn't know anything about her wishes. And so if you need one, First Health is hosting an event, one on the 16th across the street, one on the 24th in the Cancer Center, and you can get your advanced directives notarized for free. There's flyers at my table. Any questions? Yes. Mm-hmm. Right. Oh, sure. That's a great point. As long as someone is still showing signs of decline and a reasonable expectation that that person can pass, as humans, we don't know what our life expectancy is. And some people graduate from hospice, which means they improve. So they no longer meet Medicare criteria. And that's common too. And that's great. Yes. Any more questions? All right, next up is my friend Jenny Richards. She is my friend and my neighbor. She's going to talk with you great things about veterans benefits.
Thank you, Maggie. She just did my job for me. Oh, thank you so much. So now we're going to go ahead and put the lights on because the next two presentations, we don't need the the shades drawn and we can put the lights on so it'll be a little brighter in here. But Jenny is wonderful to come today and tell you a little bit about the benefits of veterans benefits actually that they have, right? Services and everything that she does there at Veterans Services. What's that? Yeah, gonna wing it. Okay, well, here you go.
Hey everyone, I'm Jenny, as Lynn and my neighbor Maggie told you. Maggie is actually my neighbor. She lives 5 houses down from me, so she's dealt with my children's antics for the last 8 years. Or how about now? Good? Britney Spears. Not Britney Spears. Sorry, guys. I can pretend that too if you want me to. Anyway, like I said, I work for the county as a VSO or a veteran service officer. Does anybody have a clue what that is? Okay, well, at least, thank you. At least somebody does. Thank you. Well, Kaylee does. She's also my neighbor at work. So what we do is we are called accredited veteran service officers. We advocate for veteran spouses to get the benefits that they've earned through their military service. Now, what that means is there's specific programs that my office actually takes care of. Compensation, which is disability compensation, pension, and survivor's benefits. So I won't go too much into that because 20 minutes is not that long. So what we do is we gather all the evidence and we advocate through the VA to ensure you're getting the benefits that you or your veteran has earned through the service. Now, as far as aging in place, that falls mostly under VA medical facilities. We don't deal with that a whole lot. However, there are programs that the VA disability side can do. It's called Aid in Attendance. Not a standalone program. That is a huge misconception with a lot of the places around here. Aid in Attendance is not a standalone program. It is a program that can be added monetarily to your benefits if you qualify under certain parameters. Now, for the VA side, that means that you need assistance with everyday living based on what you're connected for. And when I say service connected, I mean that what you have an ailment of is somehow directly related to your military service. So if one of those things is precluding you from living your everyday life, you can add that to your benefit. And actually, I did speak to a surviving spouse. You can actually add it to that benefit as well. Now, as far as VA medical goes, if you are enrolled in VA medical care as a veteran, specifically a veteran, they actually can get in-home care through them. So there's certain hours that you can get in certain parameters. Like I said, VA medical is not my forte. The disability side is. I will talk to you about that all day long if I need to. They will allow certain in-home agencies that they are in contract with to come to your home, and the VA will pay for it fully. You do have to qualify under certain parameters, but the VA medical has social workers and they will guide you through that whole process. Now, going on what actually Mike had talked about making your home safer, there are also programs at the VA through their prosthetics department that can actually help with that as well. So they can help you install ramps at your home. They can actually get you wheelchairs, walkers, and this is a specific grant. It's called a HISA grant, or HISA. That is a grant that can help modify, say, a bathroom with bars and things like that, as long as you own the home. But like I said, that's all through VA Medical. We will help you get through that process for sure, but they have their own parameters for those types of things. Let's see here. I'm not going to talk as long as everybody else. So we also have a local organization that we utilize to help install ramps and stuff for veterans and their spouses. They're called Military Missions in Action, and we actually will contact them, and they're a bunch of older veterans who don't sit still very well. So they go out to all these houses around Moore County and will help install ramps to your house so that you can utilize to get in and out. They also, and actually, Lynn talked about transportation services. Military Missions in Action has actually started their own program to transport veterans in our county wherever they need to go. I kind of like to call it like an Uber for veterans, and they will take you anywhere as long as you pre-plan it with them. It doesn't have to be a doctor's. It doesn't have to be anywhere. I actually have a specific veteran. She utilizes them because she's unable to drive. She was very excited about it because she could actually go to the store and not have to wait 4 hours by herself there. So this is a very, very new program, and we have all of that information in our office for you. But like I said, I know there's not many veterans here, are there? Well, I think I talked to all the veterans anyway that came to my table, so I appreciate that very much. It's hard to go into the whole detail of things, mainly because our job as a VSO, which hands down is my most favorite job that I've ever had. I've been with the county for almost 8 years, and I've been a full-time VSO for 5 years. Hands down the best job I've ever had. I enjoy seeing veterans on a daily basis, talking to them. Stories are my best. I love stories. All day long, I get the stories, especially from my Vietnam vets. Those are pretty fun. Those are my favorite. Just don't tell anybody else I said that, you know. But to be able to advocate for a veteran to get what they need is the best feeling in the universe. The longest I worked on a claim was 2 years. It took me a little over 2 years to get somebody what they needed, and it worked. It just was a lot of effort and a lot of work to get put into it. Unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot to go over unless anybody has anything specific they want me to go over, but that's the broad spectrum. If you ever need us, we have two offices now. We have one, our main office is in the Ag Building in Carthage. That's appointment only. So if you ever needed us, you can call up there. Kaylee is our front desk staff. She is our warden. So she does not let many people pass unless you tell her specifically what you need. So she's our new front desk person. She's as Southern as Southern can be. Actually, we have 2 Kaylees in our building now. Yeah, I mean, but you sound just alike. Just totally Southern. Yes, very Southern. If you get a very Southern person, that's our Kaylee in our office. She's our warden. We also have another office. We have a satellite office at the VFW in Southern Pines. They have been so gracious to build us our own office in the back of the building. We are there every Tuesday from 9 to 4. We do ask that the last walk-in, if possible, come in at 3. And you just walk in there and we'll help you with whatever you need. I was just there this past Tuesday and I saw 11 people. So you just come on in and we'll guide you through whatever you need to get done.
Is it still working? Is it still working? Oh, it is. Well, thank you so much, Jenny. They're fabulous. And when Alvita or Katie or I are meeting with somebody who has a need at the senior center for a service, one of the first questions we will ask is, are you a veteran or are you a spouse of a veteran? Because that opens a lot of doors for a lot more benefit for you. So it's something that you should use, kind of like when you're a senior and you don't want to use the senior discount. It's something that you should use to your advantage because there are programs out there just for you. Yes. Veterans have no benefits. Is that through the VA or is that through the Veterans Services? Oh, okay. So like the transportation or a ramp or things like that are things that you don't need. The other thing that I do know, because this gentleman was just asking for those of you watching on the computer, he was saying that as a veteran, so you must be in a healthy way, so you don't have to worry about certain benefits, I guess. But he was saying that there's not a lot of benefits to somebody like himself. And so there's one benefit that I do know that the VFW has they have a fund that they want to help people who are veterans or spouses of veterans. And their thing is they can't find people who need something. So say you needed a new roof, or you needed a real spiffy walker or a mobile chair or certain things that you might need. They have an intake person there, and they might be able to help you with the funds that they need for an item that you might need. But anyway, so I'm getting back on track. I'm sorry to get us back on track, but we're going to have Kathy Haynes from Bowles Funeral Service wrap up. Looks like we're going to be doing this a little bit quicker today, which is wonderful. After Kathy's finished, we'll go ahead and do the door prizes. And so, Kathy, here you go.
Thank you, Lynn. Y'all are in trouble because I got extra time. So I'll try to keep it as concise as possible. So the format, what I usually like to follow is, we at the funeral home like to talk about what we do. However, I like to leave lots of time for question and answer. So you should have in front of you one of these booklets. And I don't know if you're like me, but when I get a magazine, I like to start at the back. I immediately turn to the back and see what's in the inside cover. So on the back, you'll see, this is what you'll need after I talk. It says call or text Sonia Black. She is the advanced planning counselor and licensed funeral director at the funeral home. So she, after all I talk about, she's the person you want to call. On the inside back cover, you'll see, what does it say? It says notes. So that's where in the next 15 minutes or so, you're going to write the questions that you're going to ask me when I stop talking. Now you can turn to the front. What do you mean you don't know? It's in your blue folder. Sonia says it's in your blue folder. Well, we can't talk if we don't have it. Bring me some. Well, you're exactly right. Did you bring some with you? What about the ones on the table? You looked at the blue ones on, you purposely didn't have those. Who does not have one, or who does not need one? So at least have one per table, or one per every other person. Oh, I'm sorry. Up here. She's got. So while she's getting that situated, I won't go over every single page. This booklet is, and if you'll stop at the table on your way out, Sonia will get your name and a way to get you one so that you'll have one at home. It has some helpful thoughts and ideas for you to think about at home. But I want you to turn to page 1 if you have it. Looks like a heart, the word family in the middle. If you don't take anything else from this part of the presentation today, but what it says at the bottom, a life lived is a life worth remembering. I want you to remember that. If you've not told your family what your wishes are, if you've not decided what your wishes are, do that. It's very, very, very important. It's your journey, it's your decision. Not best left to your survivors. Especially in two circumstances. One, so many of our families now are blended families. What do I mean by blended? It's a second marriage, it's a third marriage, and there are children for both. Those are most difficult sometimes. So get your ducks in a row, get your decisions documented. Now, whether you pay for it or not, that's up to you. We'll talk about that in just a few moments. The other situation is, I know a lot of the folks that I have met with in the past, they say more and more, well, my attorney's going to handle that. I'm not leaving it for my children to do. My attorney's going to be my executor. My attorney's going to handle everything. But I can guarantee you that your attorney does not want to come to the funeral home and sit with the funeral director and plan out whatever is going to happen to you. So you need to do that ahead of time so that all they have to do is make a phone call and the funeral home will do the rest. So that's my soapbox for that part. Now, if you will turn to page 3, it talks about the benefits of you planning ahead. One we've kind of already talked about, that it provides a loving gift for your family. It takes away a lot of the emotional and the financial stress. You get to say what your wishes are. You can also fund at today's prices rather than 15 years from now or 20 years from now, however long you think you're going to live. And it gives you peace of mind. On page 4, it tells you the difference between pre-need and at-need. And in the funeral home, you'll hear them talk a lot about pre-need. Pre-need means that you have done and documented everything before death occurs. At-need means that nothing's been done and all of that is done by your survivors. Pre-need, you are the decision maker. At-need, whoever you've left in charge. And sometimes they don't agree about who that person is. And then cost-wise, pre-need means that you are getting today's prices, inflation-proof, no matter how long you live or how much the price goes up or the funeral home's price goes up, your family doesn't pay any more for the service and merchandise that you have chosen. And at need, it's going to be whatever the price is that day. So that's also something to think about. When I first started doing this about 15 years ago, we would go to conferences and conventions, and they would say, the experts would say, funeral prices double every 10 years. Now they say they double about every 12 to 15 years. At our funeral home, at Bowles Funeral Home, I've been there long enough to see some of those really old pre-needs, people that did them 20 years ago. Some of those are being used now, and people will say, well, how much does your price go up every year? Well, it's not 10% a year or 15% a year. It's whatever the market will bear, and sometimes there might be some years where there is no price increase. So I would just encourage you to check and kind of see with what you have chosen and what your thoughts are about what you want to be done with your body, what that would cost, so you kind of have an idea. So of those folks in the room, do we know whether we want to be cremated or casketed burial or something else? Do we know? Yeah? Have we told somebody? Good. That's a little progress. That's the first thing you got to do is you got to decide what do you want done with your body. Do you want to be cremated, which you can have done in our area? You want to be casketed burial? Certainly be done. And you got to pick a cemetery. And one thing I'll tell you about cemeteries is that they don't all have the same rules and regulations. So figure out where you want to be and then find out what they will let you do and not let you do and what they require. The state does not govern. Each cemetery has its own set of rules. Do we have any folks in the room that want to be donated? Want their body to be donated? Okay, we got somebody here and over here. Okay. It's called anatomical donation, meaning not what the heart on your driver's license. That's for organ donation and a whole different ball of wax. So if you want your body to be donated, then I would do the research to find out where you want to be, or do you want the funeral home to choose? There are 5 medical schools in North Carolina that we can send you to. One at UNC, Duke, Wake Forest, ECU, and Campbell University. All of those except full whole body donation. Now, think about that. If there's something that you want to donate your body for, as far as research, then that's all great. A lot of people will come in and say, I want to donate my body to science because it's cheaper. It's not cheaper. The school doesn't charge you anything. It's free as far as they're concerned. But there are some costs involved. So I would encourage you to call Sonia and let her go over that with you. The funeral home does have a charge for that. What about anybody in the room talked about green burial? Green burial. What was the question? Green, meaning no chemicals, no, and that was what I was going to say. Some folks come in and say, I want a green burial. Well, burial means different things to different folks. So you got to decide what that is. So if you want to be buried, no embalming, no chemicals, no anything, there are 2 cemeteries in the state who allow that. Again, not the cheapest option, but if the carbon footprint of the world is important to you, then those are some things that you might want Sonia to help you research. There are some cemeteries in the vicinity that have a section that they consider to be green burial, but not like the 2 cemeteries where they just do like the Old West and bury you under a mound and the rocks around it, and that's it. So that's another thing to think about. I did a presentation about a year ago, and when I got to the question and answer section, a gentleman said, I want to be mulched. Well, I didn't understand what he was saying, and so after the 3rd time, it dawned on me what he was really saying. That morning, my husband had watched the news and said, hey, did you know that New York just made it legal for human bodies to be composted? And I was like, that's what he's talking about. He wants to be composted. So I said, well, I really don't know a whole lot about it at the time. I didn't know a whole lot about it, but I know there are about 8 states in the United States where it's legal. It is not legal here. But what they put you in a cylinder and close it up, and 40 days later, supposedly you can be spread around the rose bush. Now, I don't really know if I've not known anybody that did that. I did have someone who was interested in that, but they moved here from a state where it was legal. And so I said, I don't understand what's the difference. I said, I can't do that for you here. The only thing I can do is I can drive you to the nearest state that does what I can do for you. But I said, tell me the difference in having that done, since we can't do that here, and burying you in a cemetery that's designated as green. And she said, this was her answer to me, and it stuck with me. She said, if I go to the cemetery, I have my own spot, and they put me in the ground, and that ground can never be used for anything else. And that's correct. But if I'm under the rose bush, nobody's really going to know. And so I have contributed to the conservation of the world by doing that. So I thought that was she really thought that through. So I just tell people that, just so if that's something that you're really interested in, that you can do. Let me pause for just a second. Questions? Yes, sir. His question is, spreading ashes, can you do that anywhere? This is being recorded, and I can't really answer that question. You can't, there are places that you can't. They don't want you to do it on the shore. Most people say, I'm going to spread at the ocean. We caution people to not do that, because do you know in a movie where you see them spread ashes at the coast, how many takes they had to do for that to turn out right? A lot. So I don't recommend that, and they don't want you to do that either. For the ocean, you got to be out so many miles. For North Carolina, could be different other places. here, a lot of, probably 85% of my golfers say they're going on number 2. And my answer to that is just do it at night and don't tell me. So there's that. But pretty much, if you're going to do it in a public place, we need to ask permission. I know at Whispering Pines Lake, we have a letter that says that they're fine with them putting ashes in the lake. It can't be any cleaner. You know, at 1,600 degrees, it's pretty, most everything that could be alive is dead. So I think that's probably okay. I did have some family members who went to Disney. So I visit family members there, but I can't tell you where. So, so it's kind of up to you. We don't do it. The funeral home will not do it, but we release them to you, and then it's up to you. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am. Okay. Her question is, if she pays for her cremation here and she decides to move, what does she do with that? So in North Carolina, pre-needs that you fund in advance are transferable anywhere in the country. Now, I can't speak to overseas because that's a whole different thing. But if she decides to do that and she pays for a cremation here, we guarantee her place here. And then 5 years from now, she's like, I've got to move to Minnesota to be with my family. Okay, that's fine. Then your choices are you can leave it where it is until you pass, transfer it at that time, or you can do it when you get there so that you get the benefit of whatever they're going to give you. Now, the part that does not transfer is that inflation proof, where we've guaranteed your price. The funeral home that you're going to is probably not going to guarantee our price. We would not guarantee theirs, so it stands reasonable to say that they will not guarantee ours, and they don't have to. But you never lose what you put in. So whatever you put in plus whatever growth it has experienced would go with you and be applied to whatever their cost is. Now, if you're moving north or to Florida, it's probably always going to be higher. If you're going west, sometimes we find it's a little cheaper. So if you have more money in your account than what it costs when you're out there, the difference is refunded to your estate. So there's no arguing about which child gets the residual. Is that good? Okay. Anybody else? I believe we don't have one burning question. Like, usually the most popular one is, are you cremated with clothes on? And the answer is yes. Whatever you come in wearing is how you go to the crematory, unless you want to send something different. Oh, I did not talk about Arlington. If you have a desire to be at Arlington, Bowl sends a lot of folks that direction, so they're pretty good. They're pretty good at that. They'll help you navigate it, do all the paperwork. They'll drive you if it's casket. They will send you if it's cremation. The funeral home does not determine your eligibility. We send that to the cemetery, and Arlington determines your eligibility based on your VA records and your DD 214. So that's really important. Don't know where your DD 214 is and you want to be in a military cemetery, you need to order yourself one or you need to find it. Because they don't like to talk to us without it. Now there's a cost for us to take you. There again, a reason to make an appointment with Sonia and let her kind of lay all that out for you. We do have a really nice state military cemetery at Spring Lake. It's very nice, very well done, very well kept. And if you're a North Carolina resident, that's free to you as well. It's free to the veteran, not free to the spouse. Let me see. Let me check my notes because I stopped shy. Let me say, as far as cremation is concerned, if you're leaning toward cremation, if you don't do anything else, please consider signing your cremation authorization. A lot of people will tell us, it's in my will. Well, we don't get your will. We don't see your will. We don't want to see your will. And a lot of the things have already been done with your body before the will is brought out and read. So this is a document required by the state of North Carolina in any funeral home before you can be cremated. And it just is your signature saying, yes, I want to be cremated. And then there's a couple of other questions. And who can have your remains, or where are your remains to go to? So here's the situation. You say, okay, my husband is going to sign for that. Okay, that's fine. The state's very specific about who can be the authorizing person. So the first spouse dies, and the surviving spouse is the authorizing person. That's great. Then the second spouse dies. If you have 5 children, looking for 5 signatures. Now the law says majority, and I don't know about other funeral homes in our area, but Bowles Funeral Home requires them all. Because that's all you need is one child that says, I don't want him to be cremated, and giving you a fit. So we require all children. So that's one reason in itself to have you sign your own. If we've got your signature, then we're golden. Now the only thing that trumps that, because after children it goes to, I think, parents, siblings, and on down the list. But the thing that trumps that is a healthcare power of attorney, which Maggie talked about a few minutes ago. Make sure that you have some type of healthcare power of attorney or directive that addresses disposition of remains. Really, really important. And I think a lot of our attorneys in the area are now adding type things to their list of what they're asking you to do for estate planning, not just power of attorney or durable power of attorney or healthcare power of attorney, but your final disposition. We hear that a lot too at the funeral home. It's when you ask a person what their relationship is to the person who is either imminent, hasn't passed away yet, or has passed away. I'm their power of attorney. Well, you need to know that durable power of attorney dies when that person dies. So it's no good. There's not a thing about that that the funeral home can use. The healthcare power of attorney, however, if it addresses disposition of remains, then they can use that. So I would encourage you, some of the older documents we've seen in this area do not include that. Newer ones do. I'd say in the last, what would you say, Sonia, 5 or 10 years? It's okay? Yeah. Okay. Are we on time? Okay.
Thank you, Kathy. Okay, your favorite part of the day, door prizes. So all the lovely sponsors who happen to bring a door prize today, if they can come on up, I'm going to grab my little basket here. And Alvita, has everybody gotten a pink door prize ticket? Let's just make sure that right off the bat. Okay. Now, there have been a few people that had to go to doctor's appointments and they left early, so you have to be in it to win it. So that gets it happens to help you guys out who are here. So I'm going to give this first gift card for Southern Pines Funerals for sheets. Let's see, it's a $50 gift card. We could use that for gas these days, but they also have fabulous food items and things in there. And that lucky winner is going to be, let's see, the last 3 numbers are 281. All right. Very good. Okay. Next up, Samantha Patterson. Come on over here, please. She has a beautiful flower that smells even prettier than it looks. And I'm just going to reach in here. And we have The last three are 288. All right, lucky winner over here. Okay. I'm shaking. I'm putting my one hand in here, Dorothy. We're doing, oh, here comes Alvita. She can shake it up. There you go. You trust Alvita. Oh. Okay, now I'll do it. Okay, next up is Joella Hardy, and she is with Tarabella, and looks like she's got two gifts. Beautiful Easter lilies here, 273. 273. Got to be in to win it. Next. Last three are 286. All right, lovely lady over by the window. And the next Easter lily here is, oops, I grabbed a bunch here. 301. All right, lovely lady in the back. There's Joan. I think I just did is that the 303 did I just do? Okay, all right, that's back in. Thank you. All right, next up, it looks like we have two door prizes here from Casey with Care Patrol, 261. All right. You get to choose a color. Woohoo! All right, next one, 264 for the yellow tulips. Woohoo! Yay! Look at that. Department of Social Services even brought a door prize today. Isn't that lovely? Okay, so the last three are 293. All right. Look at the couple. They won both things. Maggie. Oh, okay. Maggie Bonecutter has a beautiful white pansy hanging basket. It's gorgeous. The last three numbers are 291. All right. Gentleman over here in the front row. Okay, and we have Charter of Fox Hollow. Fox Hollow Living changed names to Charter of Fox Hollow, and that's a beautiful pink petunia basket, 271. 271, okay, very good. Mike from Home Choice Network, he is up. What is that, a beautiful begonia hanging basket, 300. All right. Yeah, I'm going to make you walk around. Bowles has a beautiful Easter basket. Woo, the $25 Panera gift card in there, too. 296. All right. Okay, both. Penic has two, and they are beautiful. Look at that with cute little birds inside. They're Christmas cactuses. 294. All right. And then we have both of them? And the other one is 263. All right. Okay, last but not least, we have wonderful Sherry Chetfield here with Rescue Alert. And she has a beautiful geranium here, 285. 285. Going once. You got it in the back? All right, very good. Yay. Well, thank you all so much for coming. I hope you learned a lot and enjoyed yourself and have a little full belly, and hope to see you next Thursday for the part two, where it will be even more presentations and more things to learn. So thank you so very much and have a great day.